Hello, this is Bent TV and I'm your host for the evening, Malice. As always, we have a delectable selection of stories for you, starting with X-Ray Specs with Remy, who is looking at the legal aspects that older queers need to be considering. I'm hoping to hear some good tips since I'm turning 40 this year. Here's Remy.
Hi, tonight on X-Ray Specs, it is the last of our fourth instalment of our community elders story. We're going to look a little bit at what's actually happening in legislation in regards to aged care. I've got our experts back with us. I've got Paul Martin and Heather Birch. Thank you very much for joining us again.
Thank you.
Now, I'm going to really throw to these guys because this has been released in, I think it was December last year, was it?
That's right, yes.
December last year. Tell me, what is this?
It's probably one of the most exciting things to come out of the Commonwealth Government as far as LGBTI elders and people who are going to be elders are concerned. It's the national LGBTI ageing and aged care strategy, which sets the scene for great improvements to our care and support in the future. And Paul was really lucky. He was involved in the whole development process.
So certainly this is a culmination of, indeed, many decades of work. So people like Joe Harrison, who some people will be aware of, who's been an extraordinary advocate for LGBTI seniors for many, many years, and other people have been involved in trying to get LGBTI issues onto the agenda. So one of the big issues is the invisibility of LGBTI seniors within the aged care system. It wasn't recognised in policy and therefore wasn't recognised in delivery. And what this strategy does is say to aged care providers, you must take into account the needs and views of LGBTI people who are your clients. And we, the Commonwealth Government, are going to support you to do that, but you need to play your part as well in partnership with LGBTI community organisations and, most importantly, with LGBTI seniors themselves.
Okay, so it's really the beginning of a liaison between the LGBTI community and service providers for aged care.
It is, and part of the development stages of this had us already talking to major service provider organisations. And I guess the really big things in this strategy are things like we are now viewed as a so-called special needs group as far as the allocation principles go that go with the Aged Care Act. So we can actually apply for, or organisations can apply for, specific services to meet our needs. And one of the other things is that when the government is looking at whether the standards of care are met, our needs can be considered as part of that.
Okay, so because to put that into context, what before this, what are the kind of, and I don't mean horror stories, but what are the kind of situations where you could have been in where it wasn't happening?
Paul, you might be able to answer that one.
Okay, it kind of depends where you accessed your services from. So some organisations were doing great work and were aware of the needs of LGBTI people and inclusive of those, and other services not so much. So certainly we have stories of where a gay couple might have been trying to access care in a residential facility, for example, and there were some problems around their partner staying. So they'd be put in a single room, their partner wasn't able to be in the same room or you know, share a bed with them, or those types of things. So there was really no guidance, there was no minimum standards for services. It really was kind of hit and miss, that you could wind up in a great service, you could wind up in a really, really bad service, and there's really no way of telling, and there wasn't much you could do about it if you ended up somewhere that's bad. And what the strategy does and the community care standards do is say there's a minimum standard now, which is that LGBTI people need to be treated with respect and dignity and included in our aged care sector, and that's been a really important change. Okay,
because there was a thing, because how does the government acknowledge our relationships?
Well, Centrelink certainly does. Centrelink now expect you to out yourself if you're receiving a payment from them. And in the old days, I suppose it was always assumed that two people of the same sex living together would never have been in a relationship.
They're just good friends.
They're just good friends. Now it's almost like you have to prove you're not in a relationship. So that has had some major implications for people. I shouldn't laugh. Major implications for people financially.
Well, because I believe you said that because they usually grandfather these sort of things when they make a change.
Yeah, when there's changes, there's usually what they call a grandfather clause. So anyone who's already on a pension or a payment is basically protected, and it's only new applicants who have to comply with the changes. This time around the government didn't have that effect, so anybody who was already on a pension or an allowance, suddenly their partner's income was taken into account, and some people lost their whole income from Centrelink because of that, and we haven't had the benefit of planning in advance knowing that those things will be taken into account.
Exactly, it was something that just came out of the blue.
The other things the strategy
Thank you.
also has provided for is $2.5 million. Might sound a lot, but it's a little bit, and that's towards training of service providers. If we want service providers in aged care, both home-based care and residential care, to understand our needs and provide good care, they've actually got to know what our needs are. They need to understand the history that we've lived, and then they need to know how they can provide care. So there is some training.
And what we know is that most aged care providers are not setting out to discriminate against LGBTI people. They're not bigots. They want to provide support and help their clients. But the problem is that it's not been part of their training, it's not been part of policy and practice and organisational systems. And so ignorance is the problem.
Well, and because I'm probably going to be politically incorrect a little bit here, because if you're talking about the care sector, then generally speaking, a lot of the workers in that sector are from a multicultural background. Would I be correct in saying that?
It particularly, with agency staff, and it's a very low-paying area of work, and so what it actually needs is management in agencies to be absolutely clear about what the acceptable standards are of work within their agency, and for people to understand that this is what we do in this particular service and this is how we treat our clients.
So being LGBTI friendly is more than just putting a poster up in the reception area. So for example, at Care Connect, we've done lots of work at an organisational level to ensure that our systems and our practices are LGBTI inclusive. So for example, we've changed our databases so that you can be male, female or other, and you can say whatever the other is. The relationship categories are not just married and divorced, but de facto and civil partnerships are recognised.
Okay.
That we've provided training to our senior management and our board, so that at the organisational level we are LGBTI inclusive, so that that flows through to all of the services in the organisation.
Yeah, so you can actually be acknowledged. Because now I'm just going to go through to this myth that was around for a few years back, like this, there was going to be a gay lesbian nursing home. What's the reality there?
The reality is that most of us would never be able to access that. If there's one home, gosh, there's a few more of us than would fit into one home. People are all over Australia. We live everywhere. We need care in our own communities. Most of us will not go into aged care. In fact, we were talking about that only 5% of people will ever end up living in residential aged care, so most of us will not be there. And some people, just in rural areas, there's not going to be enough to build an aged care facility. So what we're talking about is good care for everybody, wherever they are.
Yeah, beautiful. So only 5%. Sorry, go ahead.
But what we are seeing more of is sometimes they're called over 50s lifestyle resorts. So that's where older people are coming together in a built facility. It's not a nursing home, but it's downsizing from the 3-4 bedroom house or whatever it is into a facility, their own accommodation, their own house or their own unit. There's lots of facilities there, but they're with other like-minded people.
Yeah, where they can
and
be
certainly there's been a call for some LGBTI-focused facilities, and there's one that's under development here in Victoria.
Excellent.
Just
Now, we'll
outside
cut
of
you off. I'm sorry, because we are running short on time. If people want more information about this, where would they go?
You can go to the Department of Health website or to the website of the National LGBTI Health Alliance, and both of those have a page on LGBTI seniors.
Okay, beautiful. Look, thank you very much for joining us. That's it for our Community Elders series. Thank you very much for watching Ben TV. I'm sure Malice will have got a little bit more for you in line. Thanks for watching.
Excellent stuff from Remy there. Don't go anywhere. We're coming straight back, or should I say bent back, after this break. You're on Bent TV, and we are now taking you to another powered entirely by Ginni segment, which this week has made me think of powdered vaginas. That sounds like a nice treat. Let's see what sort of treat Ginni has for us.
You're with Ginni on Bent TV, and I'm pretty excited today because normally my guests feature a 30-kilometre radius outside of Melbourne, but these two guests are all the way from New York City. Everyone's talking about them, the new hottest couple on The Real L Word. Please welcome Lauren and Kiyomi. Hello, guys. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to Australia. That's pretty cool. Now, you guys are the latest couple to spring from the real L Word. Newest additions as well.
Yeah.
I've got to ask you now. I'm asking you this because people have told me to ask you this. Do you guys feel under pressure being compared to Sarah and Whitney a lot?
No.
No.
I think we're like, we spent some time with those two, and we're just very different. And we were on the same season, and I don't think they would have two couples with so many similarities, like so focused on so much.
Yeah.
But we definitely get along with them really well. But we're completely different people. So.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think, like you said, we all get along, but I think we're different, but we have fun together.
Mostly it's like a hair difference, like dreads, pink hair.
Yeah, it's just the hair.
I think so too.
Different.
Actually, speaking of your hair, I've got to say, me and Kiyomi kind of feel a little bit odd, you being bright and pink. I'm thinking of dyeing my hair.
Really?
What colour should I go?
Purple.
Kiyomi, what do you think?
Purple?
Just a flash of purple.
Yeah. Like a dark purple.
A dark purple?
Mhm.
You recommend
Nice,
that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had it for one day,
Yeah.
and then I changed it.
It was that nice.
It was
Yeah.
hair drama for her.
It was major drama.
Well, speaking of hair drama, not that you'd probably have this in a rock group, you'd probably have noise drama more than anything. Hunter Valentine, it's going pretty well at the moment.
Yeah, we're doing all right. We're touring all over the world.
You guys do
Seems
more
now.
gigs than any band I know.
Really?
Like, I look at your gig page, and it's like, seriously, every day or most weekends is just packed out with this city, this city, this city, that city. I mean, how do you do it?
Well, it's like when you have any job, you don't get a million days off in a row. You got
Yeah.
to go to work every day, and being on stage is our job. So we just happen to have to travel for miles and miles and miles, or kilometers, to get there. Luckily we really love what we do and are really passionate about what we do, and I love the people that I work with. So, it's awesome.
Fantastic. It's awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Awesome.
I mean, it's strenuous on the road
Yeah.
sometimes, not going to lie.
Yeah.
And you're in a car a lot, but...
You don't have a bus?
No, we have a tour van.
Van.
This summer, actually, we'll be on a bus.
Yeah.
We're going out with Cyndi Lauper. So we'll be on
Wow.
a tour bus this summer, but...
She'll have a big bus.
Yeah, she's going to have her own bus.
Oh, so
Come
you're not
on.
in her bus?
No.
Oh, okay. I was getting
We
excited
have-
for you there. I mean, you're going to be in a bus with Cyndi Lauper.
Well,
they're
we'll
going to
see.
share a bed.
No, we're not.
How do you feel about that?
Well, she has pink hair, too, at times.
You
so-
might get confused.
Yeah.
How awkward. Filling up Cyndi Lauper. All of a sudden,
Okay,
Kiyomi's
I
like,
approve.
you approve?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I've got to apologise to you, too, because when I interviewed you first, I think a year ago, I called you Kiyomi.
That's
and
okay.
I apologise because it kind of sounds like Coyote and you're not anything like a coyote.
Coyote is kind of a cool name, though.
It is, because I just think of Coyote Ugly, just naked girls dancing in a bar.
That's
Which is not
true.
a bad
And that's
visual.
what you think of when you think of me,
It's like
right?
3 degrees of separation right there.
Now, Lauren, over to you. You've been quite busy yourself, not rocking like Kiyomi does, but you've been rocking the jewellery, the
Yeah,
bling. It's
yeah.
going awesome.
It is going really well.
And it's bling with a message.
Yeah, we're wearing it right
Yeah.
now.
That's good. Bling with a message. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, the bracelets have been. Yeah, I'm trying to come out with 2 or 3 a year that benefit a cause or another. And the fans of the show have just been amazing. Buying up those bracelets and basically giving back while sporting their lion. But I think the next one, actually, speaking of animals, will be an animal cause. Yeah, I think
All right.
that's next.
I'll stop feeding my guest kangaroo then.
Yeah,
We like
it's
this.
okay though. You can talk about it. I don't think it'll go towards a kangaroo organization.
Okay.
So.
Oh, that's all right then.
It's just
Unfortunately,
going to be a big cut of meat.
yeah.
A big
You
T-bone
mean
Just
of
steak.
You mean of tofu?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Well, you've got some Aussie love with it too, because I hear Ryan Quanton jumped on board. We
Yeah,
only know him
yeah.
as Vinny from Home and Away, but Brian Quanton, who's
Oh
in True
right,
Blood
yeah.
at the moment.
He's Australian. And
Yeah.
He's a really nice guy.
He's
Yeah.
very good looking. I
Yeah.
have to say, if I were to
yeah.
turn, he would be on my turn list. He'd
I
be
bet
up
you're
there.
not alone. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
not alone. But yeah, he's really nice, and he wears the equality bracelet, and you like that guy. He's
So
cool.
the messages on your bracelets are, is it same-sex marriage equality related?
It's generally equality for the bracelet. It is gay oriented. It's for queer equality for all, whether it's marriage or, you know, taxes or whatever. It's the charity that it goes towards is kind of like a gay straight alliance charity, and so it kind of all translates to another, like the marriage, and then you get the rights, and then, you know what I mean. So I think it's for equality for all is the
basic
message.
Human rights.
Yeah,
Basic human rights.
yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, I've got to say, did you ever think that you would be on reality TV for starters
No.
and then launch your own jewellery line? Was that always in the pipelines?
The line came before the show. I actually started the line.
I love the name Lion.
Thank
Because
you.
I'm Sri Lankan. Lion is on our flag. Like, there's a lion holding a sword.
Right, yeah.
We love lions.
Yeah, the name was derived from my dad's middle name, which is Lion.
Really?
And I just did a little play on words and changed it to Lion, which is like Lyon, France, Lyon, France. Anyway, it's done really well. I started designing the line when I used to live in New York.
Yeah.
And then when I moved out to LA, I kind of launched it, and the show's definitely helped, but it was there before the show.
So what's coming up for you guys? Like, Real L Word's not continuing anymore, I hear.
Yeah, they decided to move in another direction, which, we wish them the best of luck.
The Unreal L Word? Is that what's called?
It's called The Realest of the Real L Word.
The realest of... How more real can it get?
I'm not sure. You have to put, like, a camera inside of a lady's vagina.
Yeah! Be like childbirth.
Inside the toilet bowl.
Yeah. That's what The Realest of the Real
You guys are just eating yours. That's what it's called.
The real, yeah.
So that's not happening anymore. So are you guys going to just keep doing your own thing?
We're going to just sleep all the time.
Be normal people.
Have you moved to LA?
No.
No. How do you maintain the distance?
She moved to New York.
I clearly didn't watch the show.
Because you just said you moved to LA.
Well, I did, yeah. I actually used to live in New York.
Yeah.
I lived in LA for about a year, and then I moved back, and I don't want to leave New York for a very long time. Yeah.
I love New York too.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
It's pretty real.
All right, Kiyomi and Lauren, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank
been
you.
an absolute
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Lovely
I don't
meeting
need
you.
dinner now, so
You don't
thank
need it? You're welcome. I got you hooked up. This has been Ginni on Bent TV.
Hope you enjoyed that, and remember to send us your love by emailing feedback@benttv.org.au. And sadly, there isn't a love button on Facebook, but you can like us at facebook.com/benttv. See you after the break. Here we are at the tail end of Bent TV, and to finish us off properly, we're going to get in the thick of it with Sammi. And I cannot wait for this one, as Sammi is talking to a Brazilian drag queen. Ooh, that sounds rather like a painful hair removal procedure. Kind of makes me want to cross my legs. Lucky I already am. Make yourself comfortable and drink in the sights of Sammi and her majestic guest.
You're on Bent TV. I'm Sammi Whitehead. I'm joined by my very dear friend Ricky to talk about his alter ego, Rhubarb Rouge. Hello, darling.
Hello, darling. How are you doing?
Good.
Glad to be
Darling,
here.
give us a little bit of a history lesson. Where did you grow up?
I'm from Brazil, faraway tropical land, and but I was there until I was 13, and then I moved to New Zealand, land of the long white cloud, or as some people say, the land of the wrong white crowd. And been there ever since, but then I got sick of it and it just came to Australia.
Now, performing for you, is that just a natural progression, or it's just something that you've carried with you your whole life?
I think it's very natural. Since an early age, I always loved performing theatre. I used to steal my sister's skirt and dance in front of the mirror to Madonna songs. My mum always knew I was gay, or destined to be a drag queen. And then I went to drama school, and when I was at drama school, that's when I started experimenting, I guess, a little with drag and doing drag for a show. And then I was like, oh, this is funny. And then I went to a gay bar. You know, I was starting to find out what it was like. And I met this guy, and he was like, oh, hey, how you doing? Yeah. So one thing led to another. And then the following night I came again. But he was all dressed up in drag. And he came up to me and said, hello, darling, you know me as a boy, but you don't know me as a girl. And I think that's when I got the drag-itis. Because hanging out with him and stuff, I started, can I do a drag show? And,
It seems to be something that comes quite naturally to you, so I suppose it can be something that people can say they're born with it.
I guess so.
Now, you spent a lot of time doing that in New Zealand, and in 2009, darling, I believe you were crowned Miss Drag Wellington.
Yes, Miss Drag Wellington, very proud of it.
So, what led up to that?
A lot of hard work.
Yes.
You know, drag is an art. It takes a lot of work and a lot of money too. And, you know, from learning how to do the makeup and actually putting time on doing a show properly and stuff. And I think that hard work is what led to being Miss Drag Wellington, because I can remember the first time I did my makeup on myself and I looked like something you found on the floor to looking actually like a lady.
Yes. Yes. Now, you what led on for that? Did you find that once you were crowned, that you found that it opened up a whole new world with your performances for you?
It did. I was getting sick of the whole just doing drag in gay bars and stuff, and a friend of mine told me, it's like that song, you got to get a gimmick. And I think to be a special drag queen, so you're not just another person miming a song in a gay bar, you've got to have something different. Like my friend in New Zealand, he is a drummer. He does drumming and drum drag.
Wow.
And I was like, well, I'm at drama school, so I can act. Why can't I do a show about drag? So from that, I just woke up one day and I was like, let's write about drag. And I was like, I'll write about my life.
So that's where the show Confessions of a Drag Queen came about.
Exactly, yeah.
Wow, so you've been performing that show for 4 years now.
4 years. We had 3 seasons in New Zealand.
Yes.
And now for the first time in Australia, very proud to be here and doing 2 of the biggest gay festivals in the world, Midsummer and Mardi Gras, and at the Opera House. It's amazing.
How does that feel for you to be involved in something in Australia, like our biggest festivals?
I feel so proud to be here, and it's amazing. It's like this great feeling of achievement and happy to bring the Australian community something different for them to see. Because even though I'm talking about Brazil and living in New Zealand and doing drag, it's a show everyone can connect to and interact with.
So Rhubarb Rouge was born pretty much in the induction of this show, really, wasn't she?
Pretty much, yeah. She came from the slums of Brazil.
Yes.
She thought she was going to escape in a banana boat with a sailor to Paris, but she just ended up in New Zealand, and that's where it led her from.
So this fabulous show takes us on a journey through Rhubarb's life, from where she was born up until the fabulous woman that we see before us.
Well, not before you, but...
No, yes, when we go
but
to
yeah,
the show.
pretty much, and it's the story of Rhubarb, of how she came to be this superstar, but at the same time you see the story of Ricky, and how a gay little boy found out from playing with Barbies to dressing up in skirts to coming out to his mom and, you know, to his dad, and finding the consequences of being gay in the gay world.
So how does that feel for you, being able to, you're displaying basically to the world your personal life, and you're basically, you know, coming out to everybody in your show?
It's very vulnerable. I like it because I feel like I'm helping some people. You know, in New Zealand, the first time we did a show, a couple of drag queens came up to me and said, "Oh, thank you so much." And I was like, "Oh, what for?" And they were like, "Oh, I just saw my life on stage, you know. I feel like people can understand me now."
Yeah.
And to be able to give that back feels amazing.
Well, and I think that's the thing is drag's not just something for the gay community now.
No.
There are people in the broader community that are now getting out there and seeing so many drag shows. And for you being able to do your confessions and being able to show the history of your life shows to a lot of people in the broader community that the drag queens are a lot of fun, but you're also showing about the journey of your life too.
Exactly, and the surprising thing is seeing in New Zealand, for example, some of the audience, it was a whole lot of women, older ladies,
Yep.
that you wouldn't expect coming to a drag show, or, you know, older guys or straight people, and you feel like, what are you doing here? You know, you market for the gay community, but actually it's much wider than you think, that the people who are going to come and see the show.
Wonderful. Darling, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
spending some time with us here at Ben TV. Where can we go to find out where your fabulous shows are?
www.rhubarbrouge.com. That's rhubarb, like the big red stick vegetable, and rouge, like Moulin Rouge.
Sweetheart, thank you so much for spending time with us here at Bent. I've been Sammi Whitehead. He's been Ricky. See you soon.
I once dressed as a drag queen and a drag king in the same night. Ah, good times. If you would like to be part of the Bent TV good times, please visit our website, benttv.org.au, to find out how to become a volunteer. We look forward to seeing you back here for another juicy week of Bent TV next Monday at 10. Have a great week.